Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Passage Podcast, where we improve English through meaningful and real-life conversations that help you speak naturally and confidently. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew the truth? You wanted to say it clearly, but something inside you stopped you because you were afraid that your words might hurt someone, damage a relationship, or create an uncomfortable moment? If that sounds familiar, then today's episode is exactly for you, because we are going to explore how to talk about honesty in English in a way that is not only clear and natural, but also polite, respectful, and emotionally intelligent.
Hello, everyone. I'm James, and I have to say, this topic is something that looks very simple on the surface, but when you really think about it deeply, it becomes surprisingly complex. Because honesty is not just about telling the truth, it is also about understanding emotions, relationships, and timing, which makes it a very important life skill, as well as a communication skill.
That's absolutely true, James. Honesty sounds like something we learn as children, but when we actually start using it in real conversations, we realize that it requires practice, awareness, and sometimes even courage. So today's topic is talking about honesty in English. And in this episode, we will help you understand how to express your thoughts truthfully while still sounding polite, natural, and respectful in different real-life situations.
Yes, and along with that, we will also share useful phrases, real-life examples, and practical tips that you can immediately apply in your daily English conversations.
Before we move into the main discussion, let's quickly look at a few important words that will help you understand this topic more clearly and use it effectively in your own conversations. Honest, telling the truth clearly and sincerely. Lie, saying something that is not true. Truth, the actual fact or reality. Trust, believing someone and feeling confident in them. Brutally honest, being too direct in a way that may hurt someone.
As you listen to this conversation, try to notice how we use these words naturally, because learning vocabulary through context is one of the most effective ways to improve your English.
James, let me start with a question that many people often think about. Do you believe that honesty is always the best policy? Or do you think there are certain situations where being completely honest might actually create more harm than good?
That's a very thoughtful question. And honestly, I believe that honesty is extremely important in building trust and strong relationships. But at the same time, the way we express that honesty is equally important. Because even a truthful statement can hurt someone if it is delivered without care or sensitivity.
That's interesting because many people focus only on speaking the truth, but they don't always consider how their words might impact the other person emotionally or mentally.
Exactly. And that's why communication is not just about what we say, but also about how we say it, when we say it, and even why we say it.
Let's take a real-life situation. For example, if your friend asks you for feedback on something they worked very hard on, but you honestly don't like it, what would you say in that situation?
That's a very common situation. And instead of saying something like, "I don't like it" directly, which might sound harsh, I would say something like, "I think it's a good effort, but maybe you can improve a few parts." This way, I am still being honest, but I am also being supportive and respectful.
That's a great example, because it shows how honesty can be balanced with kindness, which makes the conversation more positive and productive.
Exactly, because honesty should help people grow, not make them feel discouraged or hurt.
Have you ever experienced a moment where telling the truth felt really difficult, and you had to think carefully before speaking?
Yes, many times, especially in personal relationships where emotions are involved. I remember a situation where a close friend asked me for advice about a decision that I didn't fully agree with, and I knew that my honest opinion might upset him.
That must have been a difficult moment. What did you do then?
I decided to be honest, but I carefully chose my words so that my message would not sound negative or judgmental. I said, I respect your decision, but I personally see things a little differently, and I think you should consider a few other options as well.
That's a very thoughtful and respectful way to express disagreement without hurting someone's feelings.
Yes, and honestly, it took me a long time to learn that kind of communication.
Let's talk about something interesting. Many people believe that white lies are acceptable in certain situations. What do you think about that?
I think white lies can sometimes be acceptable, especially when your intention is to avoid hurting someone unnecessarily. For example, if someone cooks a meal for you and you don't really enjoy it, you might still say something positive to appreciate their effort.
Yes, I think we've all done that at some point.
That's true, but we should be careful not to make it a habit, because even small lies, when repeated often, can slowly reduce trust in relationships.
And once trust is broken, rebuilding it takes a lot of time, effort, and consistency.
Absolutely, because trust is one of the most valuable parts of any relationship.
So, for English learners, what are some practical ways to express honesty in daily conversations without sounding rude or too direct?
One of the easiest ways is to use softening phrases like, I think, in my opinion, or to be honest, because these phrases make your sentences sound more polite and less aggressive. They also show that you are sharing your perspective, not forcing your opinion on someone else.
That's very helpful, because sometimes small changes in language can completely change how a message is received. Let's quickly review today's key vocabulary: honesty, truth, trust, lie, and brutally honest.
Try to use these words in your daily conversations so that they become a natural part of your English speaking. Today's learning tip is simple in words, but very powerful in real-life communication. Always be honest, but make sure that your honesty is expressed with kindness, awareness, and emotional understanding. Because when you speak honestly without thinking about the other person's feelings, your message may be correct, but it may not be received in the right way. On the other hand, when you combine honesty with respect and careful word choice, your communication becomes stronger, clearer, and more effective.
That's beautifully explained, James. Because many English learners focus only on grammar and vocabulary, but real communication also depends on tone, emotion, and intention. So when you practice English, don't just think about what to say. Also think about how you say it, because that is what makes your English sound natural and meaningful. So today, we explored how to talk about honesty in English. And we also learned that honesty is not just about telling the truth, but about expressing that truth in a thoughtful, respectful, and effective way. We discussed real-life situations, useful vocabulary, and practical phrases that you can start using immediately in your daily conversations.
Now, we would really love to hear your opinion. Do you believe that honesty should always be direct and clear? Or do you think it should sometimes be adjusted depending on the situation and the person?
Share your thoughts in the comments below, and try to write your answer in English so that you can practice what you learned in today's episode.
And if you found this conversation helpful and engaging, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Passage Podcast for more real and practical English learning content.
Keep practicing, keep improving, and we will see you in the next episode with another interesting topic.
Until then, stay confident and keep speaking English. See you in the next episode.